Hi, y'all. This is Regina. I have another greeting card for you. It's a watering can with tulips in it, and I just want to let you see it stitch out. Hang on, let me turn this camera the other way. All right, so here it is. Has a little scallop edge around it that is stitching, and so far I went ahead and stitched the placement line, this right here. That's to be able to put your card, to align your card properly. And I've already put the tape. You can see the tape in the corners. Let's see, there you can see the tape in the corners. And I'm going to stitch this out. I'm going to put this on pause while I get it situated. This is Regina. I'm going to show you, and I apologize for the audio quality. I'm using a new software because my video recording software, they did an update and it's not working very well with my computer for some reason, and I haven't been able to get it straightened out. So this new software has the audio a little weird, but this is where I have gone to get digital paper to print either cardstock or just plain paper to put on the inside of the card to cover the back side of the embroidery where you've embroidered directly onto the card. And if you go to this link right here, this is where you can go to get about 500 different digital papers. And you're going to click right here when you scroll down, this Access Our Folder. And if you click there, it brings you up to a Dropbox, Dropbox, and you're going to click Download. Now remember, when you click Download, and this is running really slow, okay. Make sure that when you download, you're going to put it somewhere where you remember where it is. So I have this clip art folder that I use for downloads, and I set up a digital paper folder in here. And I downloaded it into a folder for Lily Ashley, which is the site that I've gone to. And just save it. And so you're going to double click on that and save your zip folder, okay? And then when you unzip it, you'll hit save. Okay, so let me go over to my folder. When you go back into your folder and you want to unzip it, I'm going to unzip one of these just so you can see what it is. I use pzip, and I'll put a link down to where that is. You're going to right click on the file and go to pzip and then extract here, smart. Now what that does is it puts all the files in this folder right here. Let me click off of there. That's in this zip folder. It puts it into its own special folder. And I like to do that just to keep my files neat. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to come up and unzip it and see it created this folder right here. So all the files that are, let me make this larger, all the files that were in that zip folder right here. Now when the folder is, when you downsize and you go back to the main folder of where your digital paper is, you can see what basically is inside the library. So I downloaded the 500, sorry about that, and here's the folder that it went into. And you can see all these different types of paper that you could print. Okay. All right, so it's important to know where it is. Mine's under digital paper, and then I've got that. All right, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go over to my program that is word processing, which I use OpenOffice. It's just like Microsoft Office. Okay, and I'll put a link for that. All right, so you're going to click text document. If you don't have Office and you want an easy to use, and you've used Office before, let's put it that way, and it is fairly easy to use, then download this this particular software. I'm going to format the page, okay, and I'm going to change the margins so that I get use of most of my paper. And I'm going to put 0.18 here, and I'm going to hit the tab button, 0.18, hit tab, 0.18, hit tab, 0.18, and say OK. All right, so it now put the margins way out here. Now I want to insert a picture, which is what the digital paper is. They're JPEG files, they're pictures. And I go to my digital paper, and I could use this one if I wanted, but let's go into this one for Lily Ashley, and let's just pick out a polka dot and use this one and hit open, and it'll bring it. There it is. So this is, let's go to preview. I'm going to go to preview. So that's how it brought it in. And because my width was so wide, it pretty much took it up. If it didn't, don't worry. You're just going to resize it. And to resize it, you're going to click on the picture, and it puts these little green handles in the middle and then on all four corners. And you just want to extend it. So let's say it came up like this on your computer. You're just going to extend this out, and you're going to grab these handles, and I go back and forth just because, okay, and I want to go right inside my margins. Okay, let's go up here and extend this, and I think that pretty much gets it right there. Now let's go down here, scroll down, and click on it, and then get your double arrows and extend it. All right, so let's go to preview. So there it is. And now you would just print it and print the whole page. Oh, we want to extend this a little bit too. Take up the whole thing. So you would print this page. If you click off and the little handles go away, when you go to File, Print, you can see it right here, and you would just print it on a piece of paper or cardstock, whichever you want to use on the inside of the card. I just use paper on my video, and that's it. So that's how you can print some paper to use if you don't have any in your stash. And I don't have a whole lot of cardstock or paper in my stash. I went through it. I couldn't find anything. And that's what I used in my video is what I printed. All right, so let's get back to the rest of the video. Thank you. All right, so I've already printed my card using greetingsisland.com. Printed the inside of the card. I've folded my 8.5 by 11 in half. And once again, I'm going to line it up on my mat, and I'm going to get the center of this, which would be 4 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. And I'm going to take my ruler and put the 3.5 inch mark. Turn this around. 3.5 inch mark. See, I have to remember how to turn this around. Let me turn this way. This thing goes both ways and drives me crazy here. Gotta go this way. Oh, geez. 1, 2, 3.5. There's my 3.5 inch mark. And I'm going to put it on the 4 1/4 inch line. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4, and I'm using my 3.5 inch mark, which would give me the 7 inch this way. Okay, so I'm going to trim that off. Well, hello. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it around and put it on the 7 inch on this side, and I'm lining it up with the edges. All right, 7. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. So now I have a 7-inch this way, and I need a 5-inch on the width of the card. All right, so I line my ruler up 5-inch, use my edges, my ruler marks. Okay, 5. All right, so now I have a 5 by 7-inch card, and there's my sentiments on the inside. Let me go to back to the sewing machine. All right, I'm back at the sewing machine. I've trimmed my cardstock down, and making sure that I'm going to lay it down the proper way. So I've got the top of it up here, and my printing is on the outside. I already have my tape on my stabilizer, and let's get this out here where I can get it lined up. And you can see the placement line. So I'm going to put the edge that I folded. Oops. When I first printed my card, I folded it. I'm going to put that edge right on the left-hand side, the bottom, line it up, and give it a gentle press here. Make sure I got it lined up. Okay. So, oops. I'll take this off real quick because I didn't. Let me get it on there straight. Hello. All right, lift it up. Lift it up. All right, so there we go. All right. So making sure that my tape is sticking, and I'm going to slide it underneath. I already have my design. Okay, so let's see, go down to the next. Okay, so my next stop, let me pause it. All right, so it's doing this, just finished doing the scallops, and now it's going to do the leaves in the center of the card. All right, so I've changed my threading. It's getting ready to do the leaves on the center of the card. I don't know if you can see this or not. All the leaves and the stalks for the tulips. And I fixed this so that you can change the color between the watering can, the leaves, and the flowers. There's 4 tulips, and each of those tulips is done in a different color in case you want to change the shade of each of the tulips. So let me get started on this. I have a 65-9 needle in. Don't use 7511. And this design will have quite a few thread cuts and restarts, because the way that I designed it, I liked the line art within the leaf area. So if you don't like that, oh, it's actually going to do a little jump in between. That's good. Okay. So, but if you don't like the tie-offs, this might not be a design for you. So I have the leaves and the stalks in one color. Now, why is it changing? Why is it doing this? Oh, okay, because the outside was in a different color. So now it's going to do the inside of the leaf area. And like I said, it's going to have some tie-offs and some movement on the machine because of the line art within the leaves, to get it to have some kind of texture on it. So it'll take it a little bit longer than the Hugs card did. And you won't hurt my feelings if you say, I don't like the way that one's stitched out. I don't like all those tie-offs, but that doesn't bother me, especially with some of the machines now that you know, cut and tie off and cut and start over again. It doesn't bother me. It's not a continuous line. I really could not. Here, once again, I'm just learning to digitize for stitching on cardstock. So in order to get this to have some texture on the leaves, I just hadn't figured out a path to have this all in one stitch yet. So I'll be back in just a little bit. I'll let it run a little bit more so you can see what I'm talking about. And I may redo the design when I have a little bit more time, but I'm making this for a friend that's going through some health issues, and I wanted to be able to get it in the mail tomorrow. Okay, now I didn't like that little bitty tiny stitch. I have to go in and take that out. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, it's finished stitching the leaves. Let me show this to you. Okay. So now it is going to do the watering can. Get this off, the thread off of here. And I'm doing the watering can in gray, or steel gray or something like that. I don't know what it's called. All right. Okay, so the watering can has some space between it and the main body of the watering can, and it has some little dots in it. And I can see right now I'm going to take those little dots. They're supposed to be bigger than that, and I'm going to take them out. And yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Yep, all those little dots are going to come out before I send it to the files. Well, why is this thing not staying threaded? This is getting frustrating. Yes. I'm going to take him out in a minute. Okay, so here we go with the watering can. I want to cut that thread so it doesn't get caught up. Sorry about that. My husband's asking me if the dog ate. Okay, so now it's going to do some stitching in the watering can spout, and then on the handle, and then a little bit of stitching on the inside for kind of a shadowy effect. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, it's finished stitching the little water can on the bottom. Hope you all can see that. And the next item to be stitched is the outside of the 4 petals. And I just chose a medium pink to let it do the outside of all 4 petals, because I'm going to do each petal in a different color. So it's going to do all 4 of the petals, the outside portion, in this medium pink. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm starting at the top petal to do the inside of these petals, and I'm using a really bright pink to do the first one. And with each petal that I go down, it gets lighter and lighter. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to wait to... Alright, okay, as y'all know, I filmed this doing my test stitch, so I can see and make note of places that I need to make a change, and I'll be making some changes on this one. Okay, so that's the first petal. Alright, so let me change the thread, and so this next petal is going to be in a little bit lighter pink. And when it finishes this one, it's going to jump up to the next highest one, and then down to the next one is the order of the stitching. I'll be back when these are done. Alright, I'm on my last tulip, and I'll be finished with this card front. And I'm sorry, I can't get over to answer that. Hang on. Alright, just about finished with this tulip. And the card. And I did find a few spots that I have to go in and fix. And that's it. So this says it's 8 minutes of stitching time. Of course, that doesn't count the change in the thread. And there we go. So that's the finished item. Hang on. Okay, so I'm just folding the stabilizer back to where the stitch line is. And what did I do with my scissors? Okay. They grew legs and walked away. There they are. And they didn't walk too far. All right, so I'm just going to, let's see here, fold this back too. Cut this edge away. Okay, and I folded this back, and I'm just going to trim this edge away. Now remember, we're going to be stitching. I need my bigger scissors. Let's see if I turn this like this. We're going to be covering this edge, this back side of the card. I don't know why I'm not getting that. Going to be covering it up, so there we go. I don't want this running into the other side of the card. Okay, so trim that. Yeah, be careful and not trim the stitching. And get into the stitching or everything will come loose. Okay, all right, so now you'll probably want to go and trim some of these little threads off. I mean, even though you're going to have something covering it, you still want to trim this back. Just like if you were doing embroidery on fabric, you don't want all those little threads shadowing through on everything. And it doesn't take long. There's not that many. Okay. All right. So I have to put some cardstock or paper to cover this up, and then I'll be finished. And there's the card, and there's the sentiment. Okay. All right. All right. That's the tulip watering can, I call it. And that's how you stitch it out and fix it. I'll be back in a little bit, show you the cover for the back side of the stitching that I did. Be back in a minute. All right, so I just went to a website and downloaded some digital paper. And I'm going to cut this just a tiny bit smaller than 5 inches wide. And I mean a tiny bit. Okay, so I cut it a hair smaller than 5 inches across and 7 inches down. And I need to cut it a tiny bit shorter than 7. A teeny tiny bit. I mean a tiny bit. So let's see how that does whenever I shut it. Where's my bone folder? Oh, it's way over there. All right. So I'm gonna, hang on. All right, so I put double-sided tape on the corners and on the middle of each side of the cardstock, and put down my paper, or you can use regular cardstock, and use my bone folder to get a good crease on my card. And there we go, all done. All right, that's it. That is the tulip in a water picture, I called it. And it will be in the files section of my group. And I'll put links below. And I'll put a link below for the digital paper also, because she has a download for you for a lot of different kinds of paper. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and I'll be back again. Thanks for watching. Bye.